Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Arsenal member story. I am with Renee Kamon today. How are you doing, Renee?
Oh, doing well. Trying to get my coffee in still, so can't
There you
complain.
go. It's gloomy out there, so it's very needed.
Yes,
So Renee, you've been a member since September of 2022.
still a newbie, but yes.
Still a newbie, but you've done an amazing job. You've been super consistent since that time there, and you've really just trusted the process. But I want to go back a little bit into like what made you come in the first place.
So I feel like there's a lot that goes into that. One, my husband has always been active. He's a runner. He runs at least a few times a week. He's done some half marathons. He wants to do a marathon. Um, but like for some reason, watching him work out never pushed me to work out. And I started to have some health issues, and we were talking that I need to make steps to make myself healthier. So in the long run, I don't run into more issues. And then I think I told you when we first sat down, I was looking past like yearbooks and things like that and checking people out now to see what they're like. And it's like all these people have been putting in all this work and being healthy. And I looked at myself in the mirror one day, and I think a lot of people do this where you don't really look at yourself. Like you see the mirror, but you're not really seeing yourself. And I just took a second and I was like, wow, this is me. Like this isn't who I want to be. And so I started to look at gyms. I had gone to a CrossFit gym before a couple years ago. I really enjoyed it, but I think that the gym that I went to was more competitive, had a longer or larger base of people that were there. So I didn't really get the individual time that I needed. And so my husband came across you guys. He was like, you should go check them out. They're really close. Just have the initial meeting, see what it's like. So I came in, I talked to you, really good vibe. I liked, that the gym set up, and I like the fact that here at Arsenal, we do kind of like the intro one-on-one with the trainer. So you're getting that feedback that's personalized to you. Um, they're making sure that you're comfortable. They let you know that you can scale any activity that you need to. It's not either you do it this way or you don't do it at all. So I think building up, I worked with Brett first. I had Lucas for one of the times, and then slowly incorporating the group classes really made me feel comfortable. And even in the group classes, you still kind of get that one-on-one experience. A coach will come up to you and say, hey, just a couple tweaks here, you can do this. So it's not like you're just floundering out there and you're hoping you're doing it right. I think the supportive environment, how friendly people are with Arsenal. I made a couple of gym buddies. So now we touch base like, hey, we're going to this class. You want to go to that class? So the community atmosphere, the help you get from the coaches, it just really made it easy to stick with it.
How was the transition from your initial one-on-one on-ramp sessions into group classes?
So mine, I did, I think I had two or three one-on-ones before I started the group session.
Mm-hmm.
It was just kind of jumping in, which I think was a good way to do it. Just kind of seeing how the format of the classes were with you doing our intros every time, which I really liked. So you get to know people, doing the warm ups and kind of touching base with Brett along the way, just saying, hey, here's what I thought I had questions about in class. And he's like, you can address that in class so you can make sure that things are going well. But yeah, just kind of jumping in, which I think was a good way to do it.
Yeah. Was it hard for you to stay consistent with group classes once you got through those initial personal training sessions?
Yes and no. So I started out, I think I did 2 to 3 classes a week at first. And I get super nervous when it comes to being around groups of people. So I was like, holy crap, this is a little intimidating. Like you see people hauling up these weights and it's so impressive. And it's like, I'm not there yet. And I feel nervous. But the more you talk to people, the more you get used to the trainers. And the more you feel the changes in your body. Like I could barely squat when we first started. And I think you remember that. And so as I go along and I stretch more and I see the changes, it's like, okay, if I keep this up, it's going to get better and better. So at first it was a little bit of a struggle, but seeing the changes, I think really helped me stick with it. And having a dedicated like gym buddy to keep myself accountable, that is what helped me.
Yeah. So now that you're about, I mean, you're almost exactly 6 months into your experience with us. What are the biggest changes that you've experienced in the past 6 months, whether they've been physical, mental, whatever?
I think it's been a lot of things. I've also, I think, been working with Arlene. So the nutrition side
Yeah.
of it has really helped me. I've gotten into eating 3 times a day and a couple snacks, which really has given me energy, not even just like in the gym, but outside of the gym as well. I noticed that when it comes to even doing walks with my dogs in the hills that are around my neighborhood, they're easier to take on. And um, winter, which I think for a lot of us is a struggle, right? Because not
Yeah.
a lot of daylight, you're inside all the time. This is the first winter where I haven't really been down in the dumps because I can go to the gym, I can get interaction, I can get, my heart rate up, I can feel good about something that I'm doing. So I think mental wise, health wise, I'm starting to see that my body is changing. I think because I was delayed in the nutrition, it took a little bit longer, but that's okay. I'm starting to see those changes. My clothes fit better. I might have to go down a size in clothing. So I just think overall, I'm getting more comfortable in different spaces.
Yeah, I think that you really you took everything on the ideal path. When people come in, I think it's very difficult to really start prioritizing fitness and nutrition simultaneously. And I think you're a perfect example of someone who came in like really figured out how to make the fitness side of things consistent and easy for you to execute before moving into the nutrition side. What was it that really prompted you to start working with Arlene and focusing on your nutrition?
So you and I had conversations before with when we do the monthly check-ins, and you said to me a couple of times, "Okay, how's your intake going as far as food? How's your protein?" And I would say to you, "I maybe had a meal yesterday and went to class." And you kind of looked at me like, "I work with Arlene." So I didn't think much of it at first, and then I started to think about it, and I was like, "Okay, so the intro session, it's a free intro session. Might as well give it a shot. See what Arlene has to say." Um, she was really nice to talk to, just explain kind of my background and where I come from with my relationship with food and where I want to get to. And she's like, "Okay, here's what I'd like to work on with you. There are a couple different directions that we can head in. So it's not a whole, okay, you have to do this, you have to measure this, it's customizable, just like the workouts are at Arsenal. You can scale your workouts, you can scale your food. So we took a little bit by little bit. We worked on water intake, which I was nowhere near where I needed to be. That was helpful. Started to incorporate protein shakes, something you and Arlene both talked about. Just making sure that I'm eating every like 2.5, 3 hours, starting out so just chunk by chunk, kind of adding it. I'll admit, and Arlene and I had this conversation. It got to a point where it was overwhelming because I wasn't used to eating that much food in a day. And making that many meals in a day. So talked about meal prepping, talked about scaling back a little bit as far as the snacks. At one point, it was just, how am I going to figure out what to eat per meal? There's just so much stuff out there. Okay, so Arlene made me a list. If it's not on the list, you don't eat it. So that helped. And so it just was a combination of things and taking things bit by bit that really made the difference there.
Yeah, do you feel like you have a good stride with it now?
Oh, I do. And I'll notice now that with mindful eating that I've talked about with Arlene, I listen to my body more. So I know more so when I'm actually hungry and I'm not just bored and wanting to eat something. I know exactly when to stop eating instead of just like binging on a meal and feeling disgusting because I overate. So it's been a world of difference.
That's amazing. I think you're again a perfect example of someone who's come in 6 months ago and really just trusted the process and has taken things slowly and figured it out. And you're seeing the results from all that hard work. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you want to leave us with?
I just, I appreciate the gym. I appreciate the community. I know with the build classes that we had going, it was a smaller group and getting to know each other. So that was pretty cool. I do like that everyone now gets the chance to do the build classes throughout the week. And we're kind of expanding that type of community for those classes. But I encourage anyone that has just any interest in joining a gym and seeing what CrossFit is about to check out Arsenal. We honestly are a really good group of people. Um, we're all clapping each other on whenever it comes to, getting that heavy weight. Come on, let's go get it, push it. So it's a really good gym. I'm glad that I found you all, and I'm looking forward to years to come.
Yeah, we're glad you came in as well. Thank you so much for taking the time to tell your story. All righty, guys. Thanks.